Network with your host, Sean Myrie. Yeah, this episode is talking about Toronto content. Please subscribe, like, all that good stuff. So, talking about Toronto content. Is it good? Is it going anywhere? Talking about the city where I'm from, doing content? No, because if it's not going viral, like somebody told me, it doesn't make no sense if we're in that atmosphere, right? Toronto content, majority of the time, or uh, what's out there, is negative shit, right? So, why is the majority of Toronto content negative? Because it's become a part of the culture to push negative shit instead of positive stuff. Because the majority, 95%, is negative stuff, if you want to call it content. People want to be news reporters, report any shooting, what happens in the city, any beef, what's going on in the city. That is what is called content. And that's what gets the views. That's what certain content makers say. That gets the views, right? But is it going anywhere? Is it going anywhere? It's like fast food. You eat it and you shit it back out. Is it gonna last? No. So Toronto content, and there's a lot of platforms like that in America too. But they're actually making money from their content, a lot of money. But stuff what's coming out from content makers talking about the city, majority of the time it doesn't go nowhere, right? Yeah, fast food. Majority of the time it doesn't go nowhere, the content. Rarely. Back in the days, in the like probably way back, it was, right? It was like a new thing going on because the internet, everything was new. But it even affects the music because right now, right, if you are a so-called hip hop platform from the city, I seen certain songs come out and they go nowhere. Like, where's the spotlighted Toronto hit song? Recently, there's a song with a couple females. Goldie London's on there. I think Taylor G. Correct me if I'm wrong if I said her name right. A couple of females on there. It's getting attention locally, and it's good because everybody's united with that, right? There's a couple of females on there. It's getting attention locally, but it's not getting big. It's not hitting nothing in England or America. We're not hearing nothing. These are five or so. I don't know how much females are on the track. At least 4 to 5 of them, and you would think that would get even more attention, right? Most of the platforms, some of the platforms have posted, talked about it. You know what? I could have posted. I liked a post or two on TorontoRappers.com. But this is a perfect example what's going on. The support. You have a track, right? With at least 5 individuals on there. I think Havaya's on there. And what's going on with that? What's going on with that? So Toronto content makers are falling behind, or is it that by calling yourself or associate yourself with Toronto is making it worse? Because if you look on it, the biggest content makers to come out of Canada, you don't even know they're Canadian. Let me say it again, most of the biggest content makers to come out of Canada, they don't talk about where they're from. Like, what's the dirt respect to him? I didn't know he was Canadian at first, right? Until people were mentioning it. He's probably the biggest streamer right now because he's into streaming now. He wasn't always doing streaming. He's probably one of the biggest streamers in all of Canada, right? You have Agent something. I think I forgot his name. Agent something. Somalian cat. I didn't know he was Canadian until he started doing more content in Toronto, right? And he's huge all over in America. Who else is there? There's this guy Jeremy something. He does a lot of content in LA or America. I think his name is Jeremy Hatchett. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know his last name, but he covers hip hop. He's good friends with DJ Head, Kendrick Lamar's DJ. He's good friends with the Company Man and other content makers in America, right? I didn't even know he was Canadian. He's from Winnipeg. So there's a pattern there. What's the dirt? Now we know he's Canadian. That guy Jeremy guy. Now I know he's Canadian, right? The agent guy. Now I know he's Canadian. Those guys are all big, and then there's the other guy QDC or some shit from Montreal. Big streamer. Drake went on his stream. He's big. I didn't even know he was Canadian. So you get what I'm saying? They don't really talk about Toronto. They don't really talk about Canada, period. They talk about the culture. They talk about hip hop. So what's going on with Toronto content makers? I'll tell you. You're talking too much about fuckery in the city when you could be pushing more positive stuff. And if you were pushing positive stuff now and the records what are coming out, we would have more successful artists coming out of the city. Because you have the spotlight. You got Drake, you got Tory, you got Weekend, you got Nav, you got a good amount of people who's in the industry being spotlighted. But why it doesn't reflect the same for the platforms. It doesn't reflect it. It doesn't reflect it. Everybody is talking basically the same fucking stories too. Mostly Toronto, you hear about. You don't know about Montreal scene. If it's supposed to be a Canada platform, just say you don't hear nothing about Montreal. You don't hear nothing about Winnipeg. You don't hear nothing about Vancouver. You don't hear about nothing about whatever. But that's supposed to be if it's a Canadian platform for urban music, you should be hearing from all these different cities because they guarantee they're doing urban music or hip hop, right? But for Toronto now, Toronto content makers, the biggest thing is talking about beef, conflict, and crime. That's what it is. It seems to me. It's like everything is based off of crime. Some people talk about things what are success stories, maybe. Rarely. It's always talking about crime and politics. So is that the content? Isn't there shows going on where people are performing? That's not good enough. Isn't there okay, Pressa came out with a new album, right? Press Press Machine 2 should be celebrated. It should be promoted on every Toronto platform. Yes, but is it really going to get pushed? It won't get pushed until they see the Americans really pushing it. I tell you, that's when it's going to get pushed. It's in every type of industry when it comes to urban music in Toronto. Not getting support. It's bad, very bad. It's not a good look. Mm-mm. And that's why we're not getting as much views, right? That's why we're not getting as much support. That's why people won't get sponsorship because really sponsors and business people don't want to hear about local troubles on your platform. They don't want to hear about that. Really. I'm a millionaire, multimillionaire in a corporation to promote media. Do I want to invest in a platform that's talking about local news, especially if they don't got all the facts? And you know what could happen if you don't have all the facts and you're connected to who whatever individual has a business and they don't have all the facts? It's not a good thing. It's better off you're talking about a big celebrity, somebody who's actually in the industry, somebody whose name is talked about on all media platforms. That's different. But once you talk about the local people, it's a different story. So, what Toronto platforms are doing is basically local news, right? And if you're promoting the artist, I don't know if you're really promoting the artist. If you're supposed to promote the music, on, on the scene, it's not doing good because I can't name 10 hip hop songs or rap songs that are hits coming out of Toronto. There's the music, but not the hits. There's a lot of music, but not the hits. Mula came out with something recently. Anybody talking about that? Mula, the first, came out with some music. I think it was a project. Anybody talking about that? Let me say it again. Mula, the first, came out with a project. Anybody talking about that? No. The only project I've been hearing so far, what's getting pushed, is Casper TNG. And rightfully, he deserves that because it's good music. Actually, good music, right? So it's only him getting the shine. So right now, if it was like a race or whatever you want to say, I would say he's winning, right? And they have Sav 4 times. I used to call him Sav 4X. I'm hearing it's Sav 4 times, who got interviewed by Adam 22 from No Jumper and getting attention in America. He's getting some shine. Sav 4, I call him Sav 4X, Sav 4 times. He's getting attention. I've been seeing his rise. At first, I criticized his music in the beginning, but this is what's coming out of Toronto. This is what he knows. This is what gets the spotlight. Like I said, negativity gets spotlight more than anything positive right now in the so-called rap or hip hop, if they want to call it hip hop. That's what's getting spotlight from Toronto. You could do all the good music in the world. It might not get no attention. Other day, I was on the gram and some guy was talking about infrastructure that people, Toronto should get more support. We have so much good artists here. And he's trying to say a lot of artists blew up from here. No one ever blew up from Toronto unless they were in America first. No one blew up from Toronto unless they made a trip street in America or maybe going to the UK. No one blew up straight from here because Toronto is the school face capital for a long time, been like that for a long time, right? So, how it works here, people got to see you do something with somebody who's big, right? Pressa, he works with, well, he works with Drake. He's good with Drake. That's why Pressa's getting the shine. Pressa's been in LA with his brother Bundog. They've been in America for months, if not a years, like spend some time back and forth. So they get it, right? Anybody who's doing music, like I said, you should have a passport if you're an artist. You have to travel. You can't just be here, especially Toronto. You can't be here if you're doing music. You can't just be here, right? You got to go out there to other places and you got to perform. If you're here, even if you're at home, you better be out there at the clubs. You better be performing, right? You do your music, you distribute it, but that's not enough. Just uploading your music is not enough, right? There was a girl named what? What's her name again? I think I forgot her name. She was getting hot. I think her name is Sadie. I don't know why she put her name like that. Sadie Baby or some shit like that, right? From Toronto. She was getting the shine. She was getting, I seen billboards on her and stuff like that. Billboards on her, right? Doing streams and stuff. Haven't seen no interview yet, but there's billboards on her. She was doing all types of things. Not saying she ain't doing that now, but it's quiet now. It's quiet because the platforms, like for example, Keep Six Solid, he mostly talks about politics. He talks about world, well, he posts, I shouldn't say he posts stuff about world politics. He posts stuff about what's going on in Toronto. Majority of the time, it's something negative, not positive. 100% negative on that platform. Keep Six Solid, right? Uh, The podcasts, and not all the podcasts, because some of them don't even talk about Toronto, but if you're a podcast what talks about Toronto, majority of the time it's something what's not positive. Right? We talk about Toronto too. And it might seem that it's not positive, but it's just the medicine. What we talk about, we're talking about what's wrong with it. Right? People want to say they could say anything. We talk about the issues, what's wrong with it, because there's been a lot of shit been going wrong for the last 10 or so years with it. The quality of music has you have lost the quality. There's a lot of quantity, but the quality has gone down. Everybody could be a rapper, right? Everybody could be a singer. Um, the gatekeepers, what was there, fully let open the door to a lot of whack shit, right? So now, when people look for Toronto music, you're seeing a lot of the fast food music. You have to dig, and there's good talent in Toronto, but you got to dig for that. They're not spotlighting the good talent in Toronto on these blogs. They're not showing you what's good on these blogs. Who's a good hip hop artist from Toronto? Hardly. You're most likely going to hear about Top 5, which I haven't heard a song from him in a long time. Then you're going to hear these other people, to me, they're unknowns, getting posted on these blogs compared to people who've been putting in work who are on the radio. On the radio, not just on the internet. They're on the radio. They go to perform. These are the artists hardly getting pushed and respected on Toronto media. But there's a whole bunch of young people. I know people want to be down with the youth, but there's a whole bunch of these young artists, and majority of them, a lot of them suck lyrically. They have talent, but I mean, suck lyrically. They rush what they're doing. I can't, there's no one I'm gonna point out and say, oh, those bars, yo, did he hear that beat? Did he hear those lyrics? So I could play that back? There's only a few. And there's hundreds of artists coming out of Toronto. People who have videos, people who are getting posted every day or every month on one of these pages where people like to comment and debate about bullshit, basically, right? So a lot of these Toronto content makers, they're not growing because most of the reason they ain't gonna grow because they're concentrating on the local beefs more than the fucking music. We're not hearing about the music. We're hearing about this man don't like this man don't like that man, and where this man is from, and where that man is from, and their past, all types of shit. It's like Jerry Springer. I'm gonna call it Jerry Springer music because it's all about beef. I guess because it's a drill theme, a lot of these guys are trying to do the drill shit from Toronto. And drill is dying basically. It's been dead, or if not dead, especially in America. You trying to do drill, or I guess you see UK drill's been big for a while. So you doing drill in Toronto thinking people are going to take you serious, even if you are serious, take you serious to really invest their time to listen to that shit. I'd rather listen to some drill stuff from New York or even the UK before I listen to any shit from Toronto. People say, why don't you support? What is drill talking about? What's the music talking about? If it's talking about 90% of the stuff is negative, I don't want to hear that shit. I don't want to hear about this man who killed has like 9 bodies all through the song. The amount of times they're talking about what they did to this person and that, you would think that you would think Toronto is like Chirac, right? And it's not like that. So this is like something what is a big problem with the city of Toronto content, right? And we exclude ourselves of the shit. We just report some of the bullshit. We exclude ourselves from that. Majority of the times it's negativity, and then people will say that's how you get the ratings. That's how you're gonna get the ratings. Yo, if top five goes online and starts talking about shit and he's dissing somebody, that's going viral. That's gonna go viral because people love that shit, right? And anybody who disses him, they're gonna go viral because they wanna. People love that shit. They don't like positivity in the city. You could just see who they make big. You could see the algorithm who is big, and majority of the people who are so-called big, let me know if they're doing anything positive for the city. Let me say it again. Majority of the people who have platforms from Toronto that's getting the attention from a lot of people look at the content, and they probably majority of the time is negative shit. Not to say you have to be Mr. Clean, but majority of the time it's negative shit. It ain't nothing positive. Like you go onto the platform, it's talking about something negative. It's not even informing. You don't have to talk about something what is PG. They don't even have nothing to inform you, to help you. They're not informing you about nothing. What could help you, right? A lot of and when I say content makers, it doesn't have to be people who are just blogs and podcasts. Artists are content makers. Artists are content makers. I say it again. So, when's the last time you heard a hip hop artist, a rapper, have like a love song? When's the last time you heard that coming out of the city? Example. When's the last time there was even a party song coming out of the city where people could really connect with and play and give support to? When? Just now, like I said, there's a song out, right? With a whole bunch of females from Toronto that should be getting more attention. That should be getting played in the clubs and getting plays. Will that happen? We shall see. But that's what's going on, man. Toronto content makers, artists, podcasters, bloggers, interviewers, whatever you do, it's not helping. Nothing is helping. Nothing is helping. Like, besides the ones I mentioned, who don't even talk about they're from Canada or whatever city, they those those guys, they're doing good. Bless up the chat. Bless up, man. Bless up. Bless up, Big Chill. I'm talking about Toronto content makers that what's going on? Because majority of the time, everybody's talking about something negative. They say, "Oh, negativity gets the views." Yes, but are you even having a balance to inform people? To at least inform people? Are you putting out content what's going to actually help people? Now, everybody follows the blueprint, American blueprint. Yes, academics and certain people, they have controversy and all that, but they got stories. They're not talking about where they're from. You get what I mean? They're talking about either the world or they're talking about what's going on state by state, right? Yes, some of these platforms, they report some news around the world in Toronto. But when it comes to like local shit, it's mostly negative. It's mostly negative, man. The majority of people don't want to hear that shit in the world. You might as well talk about wrestling. You might as well talk about anything else, what you like or what you know about, because talking about local shit all the time, you're going to stay in that algorithm. And people do like the bullshit. Trust me. I know people like the bullshit. They do like the bullshit. But is that going to make you grow as a content maker? As a rapper, you know it's not working. talking about the gun business, talking about all that street shit. It ain't helping none of you guys, right? And don't say, oh, look at Pressa. Pressa does a lot of commercial tunes. He knows that. Pressa is already on another level. But anybody new, and bless up to Sav 4 times, he's the only one to break through. That's like almost like a miracle. He's the only one to break through. Bless up, Big Chill. But yeah, he's the only one to break through right now. That's almost a miracle. And getting co-signed from Drake, Drake like recognizing him, right? I'm seeing him on American platforms. He's doing everything what he's supposed to do. He's going. He has a passport, obviously, and getting out of here. Bless up. What you saying, Tyrell? What you saying? Yep. But still, Nav. Oh yeah, Nav. But the point is, Nav leaves here, yo. There's a. This is why I want to clarify. All the big content makers from Canada, I'm not just saying Toronto, but especially from Canada, what I've discovered, they never said they're from Toronto or certain parts of Canada. I didn't know until later on either they said it or someone brought it up. And these guys are big. Like I said, What's the Dirt? I didn't know this guy's from like, East Canada. I think now he's in Vancouver. That guy's like the biggest streamer right now in Canada because he started streaming. The biggest streamer. Probably the biggest content maker in Canada is What's the Dirt, right? And then you got this guy Jeremy Hatch or some shit. He does a journalism for hip hop in America. I thought he was American because he never said anything until people asked him. He's from Winnipeg. Then you got QDC from Montreal, a streamer. You got Agent, I think it's Agent 101 from Toronto, a streamer. Didn't know anything, right? Yeah, he's from Newfoundland. The point is, all these guys I've mentioned never brought up where they're from. And that's why they're successful. I think that's the key, right? That's the key. Because there's a point in Toronto history back in the day, people didn't really want no one to know they're from Toronto when they're trying to do music until it started to get accepted and popular, right? Yeah, Agent sold out. But the point is, I didn't even know he was from Toronto until later on. A lot of people didn't know, right? Let me see what you're saying right here. I need. I live in Canada for 7 years, Vancouver for 5, Calgary for 2, travel to Ontario, constantly the West, all all sound American in the middle. Yeah, it's American culture though. Hip hop when you want to say that, right? UK does it, we do it, other people do it. We're the closest to America, but Canada been doing hip hop almost as long as in America. You get what I mean when it comes to hip hop, but all my main point is everybody who's become successful from Canada, I notice you don't they don't promote that they're from here first until they're successful. Like Weekend, I didn't even know he's from Canada. And then when I started to know about him more, he was more successful. Tory Lanez, I didn't even know he's from Canada until later on he got more successful. Drake, of course, everybody know, but he already had his hand in America with his dad and stuff. The point is, a lot of people who come out of here, right, successfully, they don't associate themselves too locally, especially in the last 10 years, because most of the stuff what's been coming out, yeah, I am Canadian. I am Canadian, proud Canadian. Yes, I am. But see, you had to ask that. That's my point. You had to ask that if I'm Canadian. See? But is that going to help? Will that help? Especially, like, for example, now you see these guys doing this accent, this Toronto accent, which is not the Toronto accent, this bullshit stuff, which they're trying to mimic the Jamaican slang. And that shit is making Americans or anybody look on us like we're crazy. Mercules reps Vancouver. Yeah, respect to him. Yeah. Toronto is different. UK. uses Jamaican African influence because yeah, Jamaicans been in the UK a long time, from all the 30s, if not the 20s. Jamaicans been there a long time. There's generational Jamaican, if you want to say, in the UK, and the Africans they've been there for a long time, right? But oh, even Mercules, before I really knew he was from Canada, I seen him before I knew he was really from Canada, and he was one of the biggest what streamed artists in I think North America, right? He stayed in Jane and Finch, Toronto. Massive Jamaican influence. Yeah, Jamaicans been here a long time, yo. Jamaicans been here a long time, if not from the 60s, if not the late 50s. Yeah, Toronto is influenced by Jamaicans. So now this accent shit, this new generation, them like make it, not all of them, but they're making like a mockery of the the accent or whatever became cool. Now they're stretching it and sounds like clown shit, right? Yeah, Merck's West, man. Yeah. So now it's like clown stuff, and people are actually talking about it, and they should talk about it because it sounds really cringy when when they're using that slang or whatever slang they have created from the Jamaican accent. What people who from that background been kind of using with Canadian English. Canadian English mixed with the Jamaican slang, which made the Toronto slang. And then other cultures who are good or friends with certain Jamaicans or around certain Jamaicans, people with that background, start making their own type of shit. And it sounds like garbage. Trust me. Yeah, man. Rick Ross, man. But yeah, Toronto content, the more you talk about Toronto, you can't right now. There's a lot of positive stuff, but majority of the time it's negative shit promoted. Let me see what you're saying. Trying to understand that the rest of the world is fucking cringe. Just speak how you speak. Yeah, I speak how. Look, check this. Those people who are doing that slang, they're not even Jamaican. They don't even probably even have Jamaican friends. I have Jamaican background. My parents are Jamaican. I have a lot of my family is Jamaican, but I'm first generation and I don't even talk like that. When I'm around my parents or around fellow Jamaicans, my talking might change a little different. No different like if I'm going to a job interview or something like if I was doing that, right? That's what you got to change it up. If you're going out in the public, that's a different way you talk. You talk to your friends, it's a different way I talk. I talk to my parents, it's a different way I'm talking. So when I'm talking to a friend, I'm not talking in that cringe shit, what you see them promoting. No, right? And I have that background, right? I have Jamaican background. Both my parents born in Jamaica. Both of my parents are born in Jamaica. And no one, even the people who are around me, right, who weren't Jamaican growing up, they didn't try to even copy how we talk. You get what I mean? They never done that shit. Some of them wanna sound like UK rappers. Yeah, the only reason, but okay, that's controversial. Some of them want to sound. No, I don't believe that. I think it's just the drill shit is the only thing what connects them, because Toronto wasn't doing that drill shit as much. It was UK what was doing the drill stuff. UK and America, right? So we always had that Jamaican slang way before any of the shit what you're watching now. We always had that from Cardinal Official to Tough Dumpling and many other artists from the 90s, if not the late 80s, of Mishi Me, right? Been doing that. But, and it wasn't what we were watching nothing from the UK. Believe me, I will tell you when it comes to hip hop, and I'm a good age, and I have my older brother. We didn't know no hip hop artists from the UK until the 2000s, until probably like 2015. I'll be honest. I didn't know any UK rapper until 2015, until people started to show us videos from there. My cousin started showing us videos of artists from there, like what's his name again? Gigs, like Gigs and those guys, right? Different parts of the US don't sound funny. Come on, yo, on the videos. Yeah, yeah. What do you say? So you'd say, what are you saying? Think different parts of the US don't sound funny? Oh, go. America has tons of shit. I don't understand how they're talking. They call that, I forgot what, Ebonic talk or whatever. You can't understand in some of them. I interviewed certain Americans and I had to ask them, like, I asked them over more than once and hear closely what they're saying. So, come on, man. Ain't nothing perfect. Go in the South, even some people from America, from the East Coast, talk about it. People from, like, especially the South. So nice that, like, certain people would say, but either way, UK, when it comes to music, they've been big in music from a long time with dancehall and reggae, all types of music, every single form of music. But when it came to the hip hop stuff, I never checked England for hip hop, right? Let me see what you just say. Take these shirts off. See what you just say. Tyrell Peel. Canada is like Australian accent, doesn't change too much unless you go to PEI or something. America is like Europe, go to another state and they got another accent. You're right. You're right. And you know what? I always hear about the comparisons with the UK, with Australia and Canada, because probably the English is similar. Like the structure of English is similar and how they teach, right? So you're right there. You are absolutely right. But when it comes to the content, right? Because black is different. Yeah, they have the different slangs. But when it comes to the content from Toronto, most of it is negative. It's mostly negative shit. Yeah. Everybody's under the Commonwealth at some point. Even America was. But yeah, when it comes to the content for Toronto, it's not going nowhere, man. The big, eat it all up, six bus. I guarantee most Americans are outsiders when it comes to a platform from Canada. It's six bus, what people know about. It's six buzz, and is six buzz really pushing the Toronto culture now? No. They've been there and done that. They're not continuing, because if they were, they could push a lot of people. Drake blew up the ting talk. Drake is the one. You can't deny that. Drake and the other guys, Tory and the Weeknd, but Drake is the one. But Drake had to go to America. If you didn't hear the story, they didn't want to give him a deal in Canada, and he went to America. Drake's daddy is from America. Drake's been visiting America for years before he blew up. So he done his research. And the whole point is Drake had to go to America to blow up here. And so in Toronto kind of have different slangs. You found when you were there in Mississauga in Toronto. Yeah, in Toronto, the GTA, everybody there is different slangs, because the East might have changed now because it's a different time. But the East of Toronto is completely different than the West, right? And you are right. It's the who's around, right? Drake is Toronto. Everyone else, to be honest. Yeah, Drake is Toronto because the world, America, crowned him that. Whoever got crowned, even before Drake, I said whoever gets the most respect, because at one point Cardinal Official was signed to Akon. Anybody who was to get respect in a spotlight from a lot of people was going to be the one who brought the most spotlight. And Drake was the guy. Drake was the guy. But other than him, right, and all these guys, when we talk about Toronto content, what's going on with it? Where's the new music from all these artists from here? Who's pushing them? Is it Six Bus? No, right? Who's pushing them? Who's pushing these artists from the city to get to a level to go to America? Don't want to hear no excuse. All this new music from the last year coming out, who's pushing them to go to America? Because that's where the market is. In America, you want to be in that spotlight. You want to get the interviews on their platform. You want to be on their charts when it comes to hip hop. Who's pushing them from here? All these platforms posting about all this music, and no one is going anywhere. The only guys I see going somewhere is Pressa and his brother. That whole camp. Those are the only guys. And even top five is going somewhere because he even left here. And he had certain situations with him. He went to Europe, right? Top juggler. Yeah, man. Toronto's all mixed up with all types of things. But in regards to the platforms, is it helping anybody? Is it helping? Right? If you go viral and you have a platform from here, is it gonna give you more money? Are you gonna get sponsors? Are you gonna get deals? Is it happening? No, I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that at all. Right? I haven't seen that. I want to ask who's in the chat. Is Toronto artists going anywhere? The majority of them. If you could answer that. You're still waiting for Presta to go through puberty. He got an album out, like him or not. It's like how some people don't like Drake, even from Toronto. But Presta got an album out. He done a release, not in Toronto. He done a release. I heard it was in LA, and it's getting some attention, right? So what's going on with the Toronto platforms? What's going on? Is Six Buzz helping? Is Keep Six helping? Who's helping to really push the artists that they're gonna get some type of attention spotlight, a deal? Is there any? Who is pushing the Toronto artists? Mula just came out a while ago with something. Nothing. Crickets. Yeah, his voice. A rapper named John Cabango done a diss track towards Drake, right? Off of controversy of comments, which Drake was in. Did that go far? I think the most maybe he got 400 views off of it. I didn't see all these platforms posting it at all. Yes, you got to do it yourself. That's my key. That's the key for the artists. They got to do it themselves. They got to invest money. But we're in a new age where people think if I go on TikTok, if I post something, I don't need to pay no money. I could just go through all of this and maybe somebody might see me. Maybe I'll get a record deal. Maybe I'll get a sponsor because they just like my music. No, you got to pay to reach that algorithm. Nothing is free, like they say in the world. Nothing is free. So the Toronto content makers who are big in the city, they're not doing their work straight up. They ain't doing good enough job. Yep, need a good producer too. That's true. The content makers I see in Toronto, they ain't doing a good job pushing artists. They're not pushing the artists good. And you're right, you got to do it yourself. It's true. You got to do it yourself. It doesn't make no sense you upload your music to all these digital platforms and you don't have any money behind it to push yourself. You upload something on DistroKid or wherever to distribute so your music could be played on Spotify and Apple Music, but you have no money to push the campaign. You might as well put your shit on SoundCloud, right? We need good producer, no garbage music. Honestly, I said it, majority of the music out in Toronto now is garbage. There's a lot of good talent. There's a lot of good talent. But what I mean out is the shit what they're promoting. So that means you know that it's out. The stuff what's on all these blogs, that means you know it's out. Majority of the shit is garbage. There's no good lyrics, no bars when it comes to hip hop, right? Garbage is garbage. A hit is a hit. AI is making fire. Yeah, I talked about that the other day. AI, what it's gonna do? It's gonna be easy now. You as an artist just have to put your voice to something, write writes a little verse, right? And the beat's already made. All you have to do is that now. You don't even have to record in the studio. I can use my own voice, write something, right? And then it process what I wrote. It could be one verse and the hook. It process the hook, the verse, and use my voice. There it is. You want to talk about ghostwriting? That's the future of ghostwriting. Just putting a verse with your hook. AI reads it, makes more up into 3 minutes. You say, I want it up to 3 minutes. It's going to take your idea and expand it and have your voice. So that's not illegal. It's your own voice. You're not using nobody's voice. It's really your voice. So they're expanding that with what is written. So AI music is going to take over in that sense. But like I said, iHeartRadio, they boycott it. They're banning it. They don't want it. Some other platforms may do it. But if you use your own voice, see, this is a difference. Hear this clear. One more time I'm saying. If you use your own voice and you do write your a verse, which you did write, it's still your idea and it's still your voice, but it's a tool. It's going to be a new studio tool that now my voice will have 3 minutes worth of what I wrote as an idea. If you want to write a long verse, you could write it even better. Just say you wrote one page, a good minute worth of that. It's going to make a good 3 minutes of the idea what you have. But it's not going to be a strange voice. It's going to be your voice, what's recorded, and they just manipulate it with the words. So that is the future of AI. That's how I'm putting out my research, right? Because right now, AI could take a video of your loved one who passed away with their voice and do new videos. Do you know that? They could take somebody, if you have the video, maybe even the picture, and make it look like they're alive again, even though you know they're gone. That's how powerful AI is. But, anyways, Toronto content, what's happening? Me, us, our platform, respect to the city because we put in work. My brother's always out there putting in work. But the main thing is you got to get out of your comfort zone. You got to get out of your city. You got to stop talking about your city after you've been doing it for like years. You got to stop talking about it because no one wants to hear that shit all the time. They don't want to even hear about the news, what's coming from here. It's even banned anyways in America, Canadian media. So they'll filter your shit out anyways if you talk about it. So that's what's killing anyone's platform down here. The most you're gonna get through with the algorithm, you better have some stuff talking about some bloody shit. You better be talking about some gangster shit constantly. And then you might get some views everywhere. But you gotta have to talk about some dark, dark, dark stories. You can't change it up. You have to talk about negativity 100% of the time, and then you might get that algorithm. And that's the only thing what's really getting promoted from Toronto the most. Just look it up. They have YouTube pages dedicated to Toronto street life, right? That's what gets the attention. That's what gets the attention, talking about negative shit. But, anyways, this is the D2E Down to Earth podcast with your host, Sean Myrie. Please subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff. I'm out. Bless up.